Here's up, eyes open, and fist clench. Y'all know what this is. Now we do this, y'all. The spirit of making history, taking history, and taping history. Let's get locked and loaded for another episode of Free Amar Radio here at Intellectual Radio. When you call in, as we say, Cub in with us, 708-223-8953. Again, 708-223-8953. I know it's kind of cold outside Chicago. If y'all can, take a pause for the calls, open those front doors and back windows and let them know that again, once again, it's on. 708-223-8953. The Cubs are coming. The Cubs are coming. The Black Panther Party Cubs are here. Instead of making history, taking history, taping history. Hell of a time, y'all. Things are moving a million miles a minute. A million miles a minute, you dig? I think I'm gonna quote Lenin that said, "What takes people 20 years to learn ordinary times, they learn in 2 years of revolutionary times. Though these are reactionary times, school is in session, man. I'm talking about contradictions are being heightened. It's a time, I'm talking about the type of conversations that are happening, whether it be in the music industry, the streets, the electoral political arena, what have you. Things happening. We are also the second, fourth day, third day into Black History Month. But we want to struggle to up the ante that that we internalize this on every day, because sad to say, but we say Black people on the verge of becoming history, so we gotta really up the ante, y'all. So let's get this out there, y'all. Get in contact with us at Chairman Fred Speaks with an S. Again, matter of fact, repost that for us. Chairman Fred Speaks with an S at gmail.com. We on a tour, the Judas and the Black Messiah tour. Just actually a few weeks back, 2 or 3 weeks back, we showed it, and I still can't get over this. Showed it inside the prison, Fishkill prison, New York prison. I'm still shocked. Then I had to come down from that. We got to show it inside a prison in, out of all places, Utah. I'm still shocked. So, and the responses from the people was phenomenal. We're working on some other moves. We'll get to the juvenile detention center and some other places to show and have this conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's timely. It's timely. And so I last with y'all. I think last time I touched down, we had the funeral services. Comrade Chairman Chacha Jimenez, the young lords, and that was me and his daughter Melissa. We've been doing some moves on some different press runs, and it's been good. It's been good. So we again, y'all put the word up for that tour. Chairman Fred Speaks with an S at gmail.com. Gonna be at Dominican University, February 27th. Put that on your calendar. Dominican University, February 27th. I think at 2. We have I'm be at the Cigar Lounge on Monday City Cigar Lounge Tuesday, I believe at 6 o'clock. They're gonna be showing the movie Judas and Black Messiah. Then the 22nd or 22nd, a Cigar Lounge on Stony Island. I get them days. In fact, we're gonna post the whole calendar up. Then I think on the 17th, I'm not throwing these dates out there, y'all. February 17th, our brother Dave Newton, who's the son of Melvin Newton and the nephew of Minister U.P. Newton, will be at the Hampton House doing a panel discussion. Then I think February 21st, I believe, I'm throwing attorney for long-held political prisoner from the indigenous community, Leonard Peltier, of the Kalanji. They'll be doing an interview at the Hampton House. So it's just a few of the things that's happening. How we moving and grooving. I'm gonna get this coffee for 2 reasons: to warm up a little bit, and also, keep up a little bit. But last time about our day, we was you had the opportunity for you to be in here with us.
Sure.
It was prior. I think it was actually pre-election or selection, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because ain't no supposed to come out, but we actually talking about you come back in after that. We're gonna follow because what has been like? What's been, I think, 15 days since the election. Okay, well, since the president administration has been in office, it's been like, I think it's before. I don't know, 15 days. It seemed like
has it even been 2 weeks?
I think it's been 2 weeks.
You know
all you see is Marcus.
The world upside down.
All you see is Marcus in the executive order.
Exactly.
I'm to a non-stop. I say I mean I had to check. I said, man, I had literally Googled. I said, okay, how old this dude again? I said, I had to check myself. I said, man, what I'm saying, it's good, bad, and different. Whatever the position is, it ups the ante. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, we welcome back, welcome black. glad to have you here. So, we want touch up,
Pleasure.
follow up on that.
Pleasure's all mine.
Yes, indeed.
Pleasure's all mine. What is your thoughts about so far? What's going on with
It's,
this?
man, of nothing else, things are moving a million miles a minute, and it's a time. I was just commenting that not people are seeing contradictions that have long existed, but like the mask is off, and some of this stuff, like even just yesterday, you still taking it in because yesterday the press conference yesterday. Well, he actually said in regards to the U.S. taking over the Gaza Strip, and my summation on a lot of this stuff yesterday, because a lot of time America has historically been phenomenal with the carrot and the stick. So sometimes it'd be the facade, a facade of freedom, and you never know who really pull the strings with it all the time. And I was watching the press conference. I said, this just can't be this out of a sudden. I'm watching Netanyahu. I mean, and there wasn't no resistance when he said that. That Trump said that. I said, let me dissect this. I mean, how long how long it's been in play, you know what I'm saying? And it's ever developing this stuff that you Elon Musk, you know what I'm saying? People, what's his role? His whole discussion about the access to certain, you know what I'm saying? Amongst other things, social security. They think they say he don't supposed to access certain codes or something.
Yeah, for a private citizen to have that much access to political power is frightening.
And Elon Musk is not, you know what I'm saying? Actually, who grew up in occupied in South Africa. I'm real careful with that term because they getting real vague with that. Just, you know what I'm saying, to say he's South Africa. I say, hold on, just because he was over there.
What does that mean?
Exactly. So I'm still taking it in, and it's still, and it's I'm gonna say something about this climate. It's something because second go around and some because he was the 45th and come back in. Now it's the 47th. Is though he's reactionary, is you just said the machine of it is. I said something like even he said before when there's a discussion about the cages, the detainee cages under his administration, and he said this has been here since Carter administration, and it's heightening some contradictions. All even that's been happening, like even the whole discussion about the deportations. You know what I'm saying, and a lot of people didn't know. I was talking to sister yesterday. I say now, are you familiar with Obama's history with deportation? Yes. She said no.
They call him the deported in chief.
They call him deported in chief. So these are discussions that kind of like people looking like they looked on the back of a Lysol can and it says and it mentions something about coronavirus or something. It was old cans. They say, oh, and a lot of people thought it was just coronavirus was new. I said, no, it can be dormant, you know what I'm saying? They can intensify at a certain time. But these contradictions, how how U.S. has been getting down, even the thing about the aid, the discussion he said he supposed to call for a halt for U.S. aid for 90 days. And just the listing of the countries who get them saying, I mean, it was like a lot of people knew about how much Israel was getting, Israel get bankrolled by U.S. But the whole dynamic of the funding to start putting it out, to have like this, these are conversations that should be happening. Like I said, years back in Venezuela, they say it was common to see the common people walking around with the Constitution, having conversations. What's going on? And a lot of people, I remember this. What's this comment? Bill Murray, who I say he really like a sophisticated Archie Bunker. He had Machiavelli. He do that racism, but he just said America is the most. He said dumbest populace, and I say like it trains to be the most apolitical populace, as opposed to other places like Cuba, Venezuela. The whole dynamics of politics, even if it's not not in a civic sense, but food, clothing, and shelter. How do we eat? Who controls this? But America, how Machiavelli, I've heard people, saying, don't even touch it. But now you're seeing that discussion of acknowledging the different dynamics of okay, how does it, international policies? Because I remember even during the election, I said, well, someone asked me, what do you think? I said, well, you got to take into account what's happening, Russia, Israel. And the person told me, say, well, Chairman, everyone doesn't look at situations like that, I said, U.S. is the big kahuna of capitalism. You can't go to a family reunion and just say, Oh, we talking cousin Joe. There's one thing. Look, JoJo. When we talking about Big Mama or Papa Daddy, these are phenomenons in the family. So you mentioned them. You just say we got to take into account when we do has their birthday celebration. Take into account all the family. America, when you discussing that shot caller, the different dynamics of it's more than your. I mean, we don't even believe in the whole propaganda they put out, the one man, one vote. The people learn about the electoral college, all so on and so forth. But the world, what's going on in the world, and their international ties, and those discussions. Though a lot of times people didn't see it, you're seeing like even again the posting up of who the funding going on, who the role that U.S. has, like even the trips that he's done thus far. You know what I'm saying? Like, like lots of you hear about different representatives of the U.S. going abroad, but you don't actually see them. He's showing, and then like even with the press conference, I think it's been 2 or 3 times you've seen his press secretary, as opposed to Biden's. You've seen it consistently. This dude it's really bringing the politics in your front living room. Into your into you. Good, bad, however you feel about it, to up the ante to have that type of discussion. We've seen that like even that climate during the late 60s, where the U.S. has said that one of their major mistakes was giving press to Vietnam. You know what I'm saying? You
turn people against.
Exactly, you're showing it. And once people can even just the visuals and the connected, because a lot of times you detach from it, your decisions of it, take a break. Okay, y'all, we're gonna pause for the calls 1 second. Y'all bear with us. In fact, you know what? Second down, Cub with us, y'all. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna be right back with y'all. You know what I'm saying? Got our brother in the building with us, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So hold fast for a minute, bro, with us.
Sure. Yeah, it's
okay.
You ain't got enough money to buy my soul. Ain't strong enough to stop me. I'm out of control. This the matrix I'm Neo. I know that
what's going to happen is that people are going to become criticized.
Talk here.
Okay.
These kids still dying in the streets at war. On the block running from the police at war. In the US, this ain't the Middle East at war. With the problems in my own community in the sword. It's the only way to fight an enemy. Lord,
Muting Facebook, we're on IntellectualRadio.com. IntellectualRadio.com. With Chairman Fred Hampton Jr.
Okay. Okay, better? All right. Yeah. Okay, right on. Yep. Right on. Look, I just spoke Melissa up. Doing Chairman Cha-Cha. Just took the up tapped in with us. Just spoke you up. You're rocking and rolling, making this, we taking this. Okay, y'all. Hey, we took a pause for the calls. We still rolling, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So stick with us. You know what I'm saying? We crossing international borders. We crossing geographical lines, gender lines. In other words, if you tripping like, well, I want something for the older people, I want something for the younger generation. I don't want to talk about what's happening in Africa. I don't really want to touch on what's happening in Congo or Puerto Rico or Chicago. You might want to ease up because this ride here, we got to pull up, you know what I'm saying, Cook County Jail to hit Angola. We might pull in Congo, we might pull in Puerto Rico. So different that, you know what I'm saying, all over the world, you know what I'm saying, what's happening. So with that being said, we just was me and our brother by day, we were just back and forth about this present administration and the climate, you know what I'm saying, we got our thoughts on it. And some, people, somebody say, how long has it been since he's been in office? But we gonna, so y'all feel free to tap in with us at 708-223-8953. We got a tour going on too, showing the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, and so we talk about amongst the different topics. We talk about legacy, lineage, so on and so forth. And my brother, he brought some photos in here, some books in here, some information here
about legacy.
So, you know what I'm saying? So we said legacy is more important in your life. I guess this can be tied to discussion at hand too. I think under George Bush Sr., his tenure, they say in Iraq, there was one period of time that the 70% of the population was under 17 years old.
Mm.
So people say, on one hand, you say, oh, that's beautiful. You get all the youth. But I say, well, wait a minute. You're looking like a populace of potential reactionaries. You know what I'm saying? People who don't have no idea, like what happened beforehand. You know what I'm saying? The generation before. And it's something in our communities a lot of times I think we take for granted, because I remember talking a few years back, and a little sister had got murdered, and her last name was Hampton. And I tracked her down. I was at an event, a memorial for people who've been victims of violence, and nonchalantly, I said, where your people from? Because like we grew up, it's automatic. Okay, what part of the South they from?
Mm-hmm.
And she really didn't know. I said, well, she said, hold on, she went and got her mother, and her mother didn't know. I said, wow. And different dynamics from gentrification, the land grab, displacement, the foster home dynamic, all these imprisonment. Our community has how destabilized we are, And I tell people, I said, you talk to anybody that breeds horses or dogs or animals, they talk about the whole thing about I was watching people, Mike Tyson talking about birds, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The lineage of them, how important it is, but just I want to put that in context, you know what I'm saying? Because I tell we look at stuff like kind of in a simplistic way, like, well, that's good, family reunion. But even in the medical field, it's you go, they want, okay, where what's happening? Did your father had this? Did your uncle, your mother, your genetics? Mm-hmm. With that being said, bring us up to speed. You got some information here for us, and why do you got this information here with us? You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to talk today about a special man to my heart, my father, Norman Amaker. So I'm known as Baba Ade colloquially, like the Chairman Fred colloquially. Sir. But also I was born Arthur Carlton Owens Amaker. My father, okay, mm-hmm. This is him here, and also gonna put it here.
Yeah.
My father is Professor Norman Amaker. Okay.
Yes, sir.
This is him in his study here. He was the first Black law professor at Loyola University.
Yeah.
Now, how did he get there? So what ends up happening is that I was actually born in Washington, D.C.
Kind of tilt that your picture. So it don't fall. You know what I'm saying? You sit back there.
Okay.
That's what I was just, you know what I'm saying? I'll be kind of here.
Yes, sir.
Hands up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was actually born in Washington, D.C., and my family actually is really from New York City. My mother's from Queens, dad's from Harlem. Dad was born in Harlem in 1935, January 15th, the same day as Martin Luther King. He ended up going to Stuyvesant High School, which, along with Bronx Academy, is one of the more prestigious high schools in New York City, similar to what we have here, Whitney Young or Walter Payton. At Stuyvesant High School, he got involved with what we call the Youth Builders. Youth Builders was an organization for young people to develop them in speaking, also develop them in writing, as well as in history. They call themselves the Carter G. Woodseners. Now, interesting because Carter G. Woodseners, the founder of Black History Month, but my dad, of course, was inspired by him. Dad was also involved a lot with his church, Mount Zion Baptist Church in Harlem, New York. Ends up working or inspired by Adam Clayton Powell. Adam Clayton Powell, as you know, was the big politician out of Harlem, New York. There's a good book history called King of the Cats about Adam Clayton Powell.
King of the Cats?
Yeah, King of the Cats by Adam Clayton Powell. My dad always talked about that book. So he ends up, as a young person, getting inspired by teachers in his high school, and also with Youth Builders. There was a guy named Mr. Williams who was the husband of the leader of Youth Builders at the high school, who was the first Black lawyer that my dad ever saw and interacted with. Now, it's interesting because his family from South Carolina, Orangeburg, his dad went to the 8th grade. Mother was a domestic.
You talking the lawyer or your?
No, his family, his immediate family, my dad's family.
Okay,
right?
I got you.
He was the only one in his family to get higher education and to end up becoming a lawyer. Ends up going to Amherst College in Massachusetts. One of 3 Black students at Amherst College, Massachusetts. Then from there goes to law school at Columbia Law School. Goes to law school with Ruth Bader Ginsburg right? So it's now the notorious RBG,
Yeah.
as we know,
Yeah.
the documentary you see on CNN,
Mhm.
and ends up basically working in the civil rights movement with the Legal Defense Fund. He was hired by Thurgood Marshall.
Yeah.
Thurgood Marshall. There is a very popular book that my dad wrote, which I'll get into a little later. This is him here. It's called Civil Rights in the Reagan Administration.
Mhm.
Now, he wrote that when he was a professor at Loyola, and we're going to get to that. But I bring this up because we're right now in a stage where we're kind of reversing back to the 80s with the Reagan administration, with the new Trump administration. Because in this book, specifically, he talks about all the different civil rights acts that were pulled back as after the Carter regime, right, by the Reagan administration.
Okay. For younger listeners, the Reagan administration, we talking about what year?
1985, around there, right? 85 into 88, because after that became, of course, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton came after that, right?
Ronald Wilson Reagan, who prior to that was a governor of California in the late 60s, and you may hear terms like Reaganomics, whatever, and also the Reagan era is tied, amongst other things, they refer to the Contra affairs and the crack epidemic. At that time, our community was flooded with crack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to throw that out there too.
Exactly. So basically, my dad's trajectory was this. So he ends up, of course, working for the Legal Defense Fund. Constance Baker Motley, also Michael Meltzner are in the office. He's in his mid-20s, 25 years old. So he's working as a civil rights attorney from New York City, but he's sent to the South to argue several cases for freedom riders, right? And probably the most famous client, of course, is Martin Luther King Jr.
Take notes. We're going to go back on some of these terms we threw out, the freedom riders and some other things.
Freedom riders, those young people who came from the North down to the South to help register Black folks in Mississippi, Alabama to vote. They came on these buses, which they called freedom rides. So Dad is in his mid-20s. He's working as a lawyer to free freedom riders, right? And to desegregate buses so they could actually do it in the South, being from New York City. His most famous work, though, was in Birmingham, Alabama, with Martin Luther King Jr. He gets called to Birmingham by Fred Shuttlesworth. Goes down to Birmingham.
So you know some of these names.
Fred Shuttlesworth. Goes down to Birmingham, Alabama, to work specifically on an injunction. An injunction is where the state of Alabama had prevented Martin Luther King and the other marchers from marching in Birmingham. If they said if you march in Birmingham, you will be arrested. And so they were discussing the legality of that. Dad goes there with some other lawyers from Legal Defense Fund and says, look, this is what the state is saying. However, we support you. So whatever you want to do, either you want to march or not march, we'll support you. You do know if you do not march, then the movement is stalled, right? If you decide to march, then you will be arrested.
Key issues with the marching, because a lot of times people hear march and they just think that they kind of abstract and say, I'm just marching, stop racism, so on and so forth. But something that you mentioned about the vote, the ability to vote, and also was other desegregation, also in a big campaign with the buses.
Exactly.
The buses.
Exactly.
So I want to tap in, because sometimes people think this is just an emotional. Stop
scientific.
You know what I'm saying? The laws and politics has impacted people, and I'm glad you pointed out where people came from. That travel from different vicinities. Because a lot of times people can look at it subjective. Well, I don't live here. This don't impact me. But like one thing about politics, you hear terms about like embargoes, and people say, how does in Cuba and like people you can't buy certain goods and services. How does it impact you? How does not not even have transportation in Montgomery, Alabama? How does that impact you? You know what I'm saying? And this is politics. You know what I'm saying? Not like how we just divide just Democrat, Republican, those some partisan political parties, but food, clothing, and shelter, and people outside going there. I want this tag team to throw something else in too, but this you mentioned about it was like a note with those him seeing the images of those different attorneys and also Adam Clayton Powell. Malcolm X talking about Adam Clayton Powell impacted him, and I want us to struggle to be cognizant of different people and images in our life. You know what I'm saying? Like even for a minute, I was commenting somewhere. So you can see when Trump speak, the common hillbilly, how it emboldens them. The white people, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And just the images. And I tell people out there just just whether it be the family, you know what I'm saying, and you giving your father's upbringing. I don't know if you was cognizant of. You mentioned different people, the lawyers and see this attorney, so on and so forth. And I tell people, like you notice in school when you grow up, if you think back, like at the black men you may see in a lot of schools, at the most would be a janitor.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we just think, well, it's just the way it is. But there are policies put in place, like with the white women, they would say, okay, there are laws and policies put in that your student loans will be forgiven if you do a certain amount of time in the urban areas.
Exactly.
But as a child and many adults, all we come out is with your first images. So we want to be struggling to really be cognizant about, so these discussions we listen to, like, what music you heard first, the images, and everything's political. You know what I'm saying? I'm a sidetrack. When I was just telling someone the other day about that genius Kendrick Lamar, I didn't even know that suit he had on yesterday. They refer to it as a Canadian tuxedo. That's what they refer to it. From certain people, a certain perspective, you just think it's a blue jean suit. That's a Canadian tuxedo. He's still shooting. That's a slug at Drake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the struggle really. And I said, like, I said, you look at the different images, you know what I'm saying, with the ruling class, they know the politics. So when we lay out these histories and lineage, it's not in a bubble or just not subjected, like, oh, this is my father, you have to take them, but also putting it in context. Listen to the discussion about who impacted them, the images, you know what I'm saying? And because, again, we not only impacted by that person, but how just even hearing the role that griots played with us. You hearing other stories and testimony. When people are deprived of that, it's like not no concept of no men and women. So I'm riding with you. I'm riding with you.
Yeah. See, one of the things I'm trying to set up here is how important those in the background were to the civil rights movement, right? So we talk about, there would be no legality around protest if it wasn't for lawyers like Norman Amaker, like my father, right? Charles Hamilton Houston, right?
Please take notes.
Constance Baker Motley. I'm mentioning some names, right?
Please take notes.
Thurgood Marshall. These are people who established the background, the undergirding of what you see in the street, right? And so back to my father, Norman Amaker, in Birmingham, Alabama. Ends up that he meets with King at the A.G. Gaston Motel. King, he also meets with Fred Shuttlesworth and members of SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, right? And also the Alabama Baptist Movement. Meets with them, says, look, if you decide to march in Birmingham with Bull Connor as this police chief here.
Google him also.
This is going to be the bad problem.
Please Google him.
King says, you know what? We're going to march. He dresses himself in jail clothes, knowing he's going to go to jail. So ends up, they march. King, of course, gets locked up. And the famous letter from a Birmingham jail. Now, it's a little known history. A lot of folk don't know. It was my father, Norman C. Amaker, who actually took the copy of on the handwritten manila paper to get published, right, by the NHP Legal Defense Fund offices. So I actually have the typed copy of the original letter from a Birmingham jail, which is a very famous piece that we read in college, for college composition. I've taught that letter, and I tell the story. It was my dad was the actual one who took that to get published.
Yeah, he did.
Right? Also, we had to talk about this in Selma, Alabama, right? Dad was also responsible for the whole Bloody Sunday, making sure a lot of them got out of jail when they marched across the bridge in Selma, Alabama. So look up Bloody Sunday. Look up the Birmingham campaign.
Yeah, I attended, I think, the 47th year in Alabama. What's the brother's name? Who a lot of people know about it, when they kicked off? He was murdered at first, and this Jimmy Lee. What's his brother's name?
What the not Swerner? That's
different. This is the. And also throw this into, a lot of people call it. You have to be known. A lot of people refer to as Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham,
Alabama.
Where the little girls were bombed.
Exactly. And I laughed when you said that your father when he changed it to his go to jail clothes.
Yeah, King. Matter of fact, in the hotel, he saw King changed into jail clothes. Said, let's go, let's do it, let's march.
I can recall situations where I never, like we going to protest. I would say, hold on, because like you say, mother tell them, make sure you wear, it might be too much information, but clean underwear because something happened to you, go to the hospital. I've been in a situation where I knew someone tell say, man, we might get locked up today. Make sure everything is clean. You gonna get your next shower, a few more days, so on and so forth. And they had that mindset. It produces. I mean, now that you a masochist, you know what I'm saying? But it produces a different sort of fight. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? In a climb when you recognize, you know what I'm saying? Hey, ain't no guarantee tomorrows, man.
Yeah. So interesting now, what ends up happening is King, of course, is locked up. He writes his famous letter from Birmingham jail. Now, what's interesting is that Bull Connor, if you look up Bull Connor, once again, very famous, infamous figure in Alabama, staunch cold racist. My dad, Norman Amaker, legally, as representation, says, look, I need to talk to my client. And he's like, well, he doesn't want to let you. Dad comes back. He said, I need to talk to my client. And according to my dad, he said, okay, well, let him go see that nigger Ken, let this nigger in. Dad, of course, wanted to punch him in the face. He said he couldn't do it. Right? He had to go there and represent his client. Okay? So goes there, of course, gets the letter from King, and it becomes published. Norman Amaker, is the one who was responsible for that very famous document being put out to the world. Now, what's also interesting is that King leaves Birmingham around May 10th of that year, right?
It's the same when he wrote the letter from jail. Was this the same? This same jail? This is the same. It's a famous letter.
Letter from a Birmingham
jail. The same jail.
But unjust laws compared to moral laws.
Yes,
and until that was that letter.
Dig that.
That was that letter.
Dig that.
So
dig that.
Another story that Dad tells.
Man,
A.G. Gaston was a very famous, an entrepreneur in Alabama who owned a hotel. So he accompanies King back to the airport. Dad's flight's going to leave later. He goes back to the hotel, and he's in his room, and there's a bomb, boom, blows up on the floor beneath him. So Dad runs down into the courtyard, finds out there was a bomb the KKK had put in the hotel in King's room.
Wow.
Now, if my father had been on that floor, he also would have been part of that damage. Now, there were 4 people injured, but he fortunately was not injured.
What year are we looking at with this?
So we're talking about the Birmingham campaign with 63.
And this is so
63.
So common that again they refer, because a lot of times they try to dismiss when some atrocities like in Chicago, the torture, they say John Burris was like this torture, but this was a common practice of Chicago Police Department. And one thing the system they make like, okay, that's an aberration, a few bad apples, but that like one person bombing, or they call I think his name was Bob, this one white dude. They say he was notorious, but this kind of shows how common it was.
Yeah,
but the bombings. Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, there are a few times when Dad's life could have been not here anymore. One time he told me a time when he was down south, once again arguing a case, and they didn't want to go into the courtroom, and they were pushing him down the stairs.
Yeah.
Right, to go to the courtroom.
Yeah.
Okay. But yet he kept going. Now he's in his 20s doing this.
Yeah.
Dad is like, 25, 26, 28. He's young doing this, right?
Well,
but he's going the legal route, right? The route of the law and the legal. And I'm trying to show the connection between how the law and how we have a whole tradition of African-American lawyers who have not been appreciated, right?
Yeah.
Who championed the courts, who really kind of set the foundation for what we have in terms of the Black Panther Party, and things like that. As you all know, you all had your own bevy of lawyers as well.
Oh, James D. Montgomery, attorney James D. Montgomery.
Exactly.
We shot him out. Right? Hey, man, listen. Hey, he's still alive. Get his book, James D. Montgomery. Yeah.
I recently went to, a couple years ago, a celebration in Detroit where they honored my father, the National Council of Black Lawyers, NCBL, right? National Council of Black Lawyers, where, matter of fact, one of the attorneys who defended Assata Shakur, right, was also there as well, right?
Yeah.
But they also mentioned, because my father was one of the folks who helped start that National Council of Black Lawyers.
Dig that.
Right?
Yeah.
So he was one of the folks who found that.
Yeah.
Interesting little footnote, and get to one more story, how it relate to you, while I want to come on the show.
Yes.
And it's been Legal Defense Fund, when Chairman Fred was shot, they had called New York City and called the Legal Defense Fund to have someone come down and investigate.
Yeah.
They called my father to come and investigate.
What?
Jack Greenberg, who was the person who was over the LDF at the time, Legal Defense Fund, said, "Don't go down there, not right now."
Yeah.
But if the higher ups in the Legal Defense Fund had asked, he would have been down there investigating the case.
Dig that.
So that's why I said, look, I wanted to make sure I talk to you and bring this on your show to show that, 6 degrees of separation.
Dig.
Right?
Yes.
We have an article. My father would have been actually investigating the case of your father's assassination.
Dig that.
Right?
Yeah.
So it just kind of shows you how there's always this connection between the law and American law, and there's also street activism.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, my father ends up, of course, working for DC Legal Services after he leaves the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. He goes to DC Legal Services. I'm born in Washington, D.C. He also, one of his former colleagues from Columbia Law School, Nina Appel, offers him a position, possibly teaching at Loyola. He's doing some part-time work at Rutgers, at Maryland College. He's also working at Rutgers University as a professor. And he ends up getting a job in 1976 as the first Black law professor at Loyola University of Chicago. Now, Loyola University of Chicago is where he ends up becoming really Professor Amaker and ends up having a great legacy in terms of teaching the law, teaches constitutional law, right? Teaches civil rights law. He also finds an organization called the Midwest People of Color Conference, which, along with a woman named Linda Green from the University of Wisconsin, is basically a conference that's established to nurture young Black lawyers, particularly in the role of social justice and civil rights law. Now, at Loyola University, we have a conference based after my father dies in 2000, but we have a conference which is a spinoff of the Midwest People of Colors Conference, which deals with the Norman Amaker Social Justice Law Retreat, which we have every year at Loyola. We haven't had it this past year, but we plan to redo it again. I'm on here on this public platform to look for supporters of this conference. It's coming out soon. I'll leave my information again. And I want to make sure that people support this conference, because what we're trying to do now is expand it just beyond lawyers. Also, I want to include social activists of all type. Because one of the things that my father is known primarily in the legal arena and the arena of academia, but not necessarily as much as I feel he needs to be known in terms of the street. I'm trying to make sure that we have the connection between the lawyers as well as the street activists. There's an article you all should read if you all really want to see some written by my dad, which is right here. It's from Southern Law Review. It's called De Facto Leadership and the Civil Rights Movement, Perspective on the Problems and Role of Activists and Lawyers in Legal and Social Change by Norman C. Amaker. De Facto Leadership and the Civil Rights Movement, Perspective of the Problems and Role of Activists and Lawyers in Legal and Social Change. In this particular article, it reads almost like a small biographical article, because he talks about the Birmingham campaign, the Selma campaign, talks about a woman named Miss Hamilton, who he defended in Louisiana, who for some reason the judges did not want to call her by her proper name, right? Because back in the South they would disrespect Black folk. He said, "No, my client is call her Miss Hamilton." And you call her that, otherwise, we're not continuing with this. Right? Dad was under 30 years old arguing these type of cases. You follow me? Now, what's interesting in my personal life, though, Dad, my mom's from South Carolina as well. And when my mom was talking about retirement, she said, "We should go to South Carolina. We go to South Carolina and retire." Nah, I'm good on the South. My dad said, "Why?" He said, "Nah, I've been back and forth to the South time, and I want to be buried in New York." So we ended up burying him in New York City. He wanted to be buried in Harlem. Right? He ended up being buried on Long Island. Because even I guess the real estate in Harlem was.
He said he go to the South.
He said, "I'm good on the South. I'm good on the South." Right, and it's right that he's buried in New York, because you have his New Mount Zion Baptist Church is there, where my dad grew up. His father, my grandfather, was a deacon there. Dad was always encouraged to speak and memorize poetry. One thing that my dad and I always shared in common is the love of writing and love of the spoken word. So one of the things that my dad talked about, he talked about how he had a teacher in 5th grade named Miss Gross, and Miss Gross basically inspired him by having him memorize poetry. Yeats, Wordsworth, those kind of people.
Man,
But of course, also Langston Hughes, these people, right?
Yeah.
So the recitation of poetry and the spoken word and written word is big in my family.
Okay.
And particularly on the American side. Really big. We love spoken word. We love writing.
Wow.
Right. I'm a published poet.
Wow.
I'm working right now on a memoir. Right. And also, it's a memoir that talks about my reflections of him as well.
Okay.
Like a book that I like is John Edgar Wideman's Brothers and Sons, Brothers and Keepers. Brothers and Keepers is a book where he talks about his brother who's locked up in prison. So John Edgar Wideman, it becomes an award-winning writer, professor, and his brother Robbie Wideman ends up being convicted of murder and sent to jail. So it's a series of letters back and forth between two brothers who have two different routes in life. But it's also a commentary on the prison industrial complex.
What year is this out?
Brothers and Keepers came out like 88,
okay,
85. It's called Brothers and Keepers by John Edgar Wideman.
Okay.
And I like this kind of idea of a dialogue between men and also and what does legacy mean. So the theme tonight is legacy.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Legacy. And what does it mean to relate to a father? What does it mean to relate to brothers and sons? How important is that?
And it's interesting that one was in prison, one's on the streets.
Exactly. One's in prison, one's in prison, and one become a professor and an award-winning writer.
Wow.
So in a lot of ways, my father and I, it wasn't intentional, but our careers kind of parallel because I became a professor.
Yeah.
Right. But he never forced me. You got to get in the law.
Right.
In the law.
Right.
But I've always had respect for law and lawyers because of him.
Right.
And because of the things that he did in law.
Yeah.
So we have the Midwest People of Color Conference that's still around. The Amaker Social Justice Retreat is still around.
Yeah.
We also have books once again that he put out. Civil Rights in the Reagan administration.
Yes.
Right. That's Dad right there at his office in Iola.
Right on.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, we're trying to just continue the legacy, just like you said, the legacy of your father.
Yes.
And trying to also show the importance of these men who were not in the public eye. They weren't on camera. They didn't seek the limelight. They were just doing the work behind the scenes. And I would be remiss as his son by not mentioning how important this man has been for Black folk in this country.
Right on. I think it's right on, y'all. We live and loaded here at Free My Radio, Intellectual Radio. You can touch in with us at 708-223-8953. We moving the groove and touching on a number of different subjects. You know what I'm saying? Someone just asked me, oh yeah, this is Save the Hampton House. That's where we at. But just to reiterate their point, a community as you see, I struggle to distinguish. We struggle to distinguish a revolution from a war. You have your respective armies fight. Getting out and engaging in battle. But that dynamic of the different aspects of a community, saying the role they play. Like I tell people, recognize the significance of everything from the culture to the writers, the legal aspects, all that. Is struggle. Again. You have at certain periods of time, you have a climate where all those and it don't get documented a lot of times the different names and players, but that's a dynamic of struggle, a necessary dynamic of struggle, you know what I'm saying? And we at certain periods of time when the ante is up, you have a different sort of athlete, a different sort of attorney, a different sort, different sort of artist, you know what I'm saying? Because again, you can't, I don't romanticize the 60s, but I look at that period. You know what I'm saying? There's any years, like even in tense times, I tell people, I say, you can look at different periods, you know what I'm saying? Say the Nixon era, so you take it out, so you go back and pull up the type of music that was happening, being played then. It's a difference, it's a different, combination thing where the conditions were so intense that you can't afford the luxury for this nonsense, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. And so, it's terrible, but it's fine. And and you have to, you just can't have this abstract support. This this, oh yeah, I like what you're doing. So no, we dealing with some real deal cases. We need attorneys. We need we need doctors. You know what I'm saying? And it's I tell you, I was born in those conditions, and I relate to those conditions. Because a lot of cases, I mentioned earlier, how U.S. imperialism, how they get out, and in particular with their carrot and their stick, they had a lot of people comfortable, and they feed them like turkeys before Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? They fatten them up for the kill. You know what I'm saying? You can see, like, one young lady was talking to me the other day, and she's like, "Oh, this is so bad." She said, "These people don't know how to organize." And she was talking about different dynamics. She had catch us and say, "Well, Chairman, you've been saying this." You know what I'm saying? And these conditions, like, like how what produces diamonds out of the coal, and I look at the examples we had. So I look at the prototype, the templates of Deputy Minister of Health Ronald Doc Satchel, who and we had his funeral services. In fact, he was out of the survivors. He got shot the most when they assassinated Chairman Frey in the Fiscal Club. And some years back, we went to go have his service in California. And some other family members were saying, "Man, he wanted to be a doctor." And one of my comrades said he was a doctor. Yeah. And the whole in Vietnam to this day they talk about him, Doc Satchel. You know what I'm saying? And he had the people's advocate. He wanted to make sure that when you came to get the medical attention that you were taught to and respect. Yeah. One of Chairman Frey's most famous speeches, he said, "If you're sick, don't go down to no county hospital." He said, "You go down there for a headache, you come up out of there, they took your sex organs, your brain tissue. Come on down to the Spurgeon J. Winters Medical Center, see Dr. Feelgood." It's an interview with attorneys. I'm thinking back, Attorney James D. Montgomery, who a lot of people, they really try to whitewash their legacy of attorneys, with the Panther Party that came. So he talks about he met Chairman Fred, because actually that's what Chairman Fred was going to be, an attorney. He was going to be an attorney, and James Montgomery talks about how he seen him in action. He said, "Man, this is in Maywood, and then like it's a scene in the documentary, the assassination of Chairman Fred. It's a mock trial, and Chairman, he's defending himself. And I remember I had to defend myself in this case in Markham one time, and people would come in, I come in my briefcase and everything, but I love the dynamics of it, but I think again, Montgomery, I gotta get that book again, because I know you gave me a book, but that I remember as a child, him, talking to my mother about what they're gonna do in court the next day, and just the the dignity, so I'm real big about that. Certain, how he came in, and how he moved with it, and utilized as a tool, and these are different arenas where our people are not, it comes at the expense of, you being whitewashed. And so to come in and still be unapologetically Black, and certain things to recognize significance. Like you say, he's stressing, her name is Miss Hamilton. And particularly in the South, some people might not see the significance. We talking about that, we kind of made some points about the South. I see you can go down there to this day. I see something. Call you gal, don't call you. We talking about today. Something.
Also, you mentioned this idea of royalty. So I look at this picture right here. So you have here. My father made sure. So right here, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Made sure to make sure that he presented himself in a certain way, right? And that you present yourself, particularly to people who want to push you to the side.
Yes.
Right. So that's one thing that he always taught us, is that you must present yourself.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And let no one, push you to the side. And as a kid, believe it or not, I was a shy person. Right.
Yeah.
But he said, "Look, I want you to sit in front of the class.
Yes.
Say something."
Yes.
And now I broke out my shell. I'm all the way out my shell now.
Yeah. Yes. Right on.
But that would be a perfect example that's important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, image, how you carry yourself, how you speak to people.
Yeah.
Look folk in the eye.
Yes.
Call them by the
Miss
Doctor, Mr.
Yes.
So-and-so, right?
Yes.
And I like the fact that in the Black Panther Party, Chairman.
Yes.
So-and-so,
Yes.
Dr. So-and-so.
Yes.
We don't need necessarily white organizations to acknowledge our credentials.
It impacts you. Yes.
We don't need that. For example, so if Doc Satchel says he's a doctor, I'm a doctor.
Yes.
Because he studied that.
Yes.
You don't, for example, law school.
Yes.
Law school's expensive.
Yes.
But you can go and read my dad's articles and study law.
Dig. Yeah.
Study Norman American history, because that's law right there.
You get so many examples, right? Yes.
I'm teaching my kids right now at my school I'm working at, the U.S. Constitution and 13th, 14th, 5th Amendment. That's the legal precedent for civil rights.
Yes, indeed.
That's the Reconstruction Amendments is the foundation of civil rights law.
Right on.
Something that my dad taught. History. Right on. So if you learn history, you're learning law.
Yeah.
One can even make the argument, if you want to get into African spirituality in E5.
Yes.
If you learn the Odu E5, the stories of E5, that's Those are legal cases.
Yeah.
Those are cases that things happened a long time ago. Now it comes up again, and you can now use that to analyze what's happening right now.
Yes, indeed.
So yeah, I don't want you to get in this idea that this is beyond us, that we don't have access to this. We have access to it.
Yes.
It's free.
Yes.
Learn about it.
So you're right. Revolutionary respect. Yes, indeed. Y'all feel free to tap in with us, y'all. Hey, we got some history literally in the building, y'all. 708-223-8953. Feel free to come in and call in with us, though. Yes, indeed. Kind of who's, man, you know that, own university, no doubt about it. Right on. African Porter, free them all in the building. Yes, indeed.
Sister Africa, how are you?
Yeah, she making big move. I just saying something the other day. She's at the school. I said, powerful. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, and maybe we could kind of wrap on this together.
Okay.
How have you dealt with being the son of a Chairman Fred Sr., and how I think about, for example, myself, I think about a lot of us in our generation who, I was talking to a friend of mine who his father was also a civil rights attorney. He says, we're going to be the last generation whose parents were actually involved with this thing. Like, those of us in our generation X, right? Those whose parents were really involved with the movement, and who actually told us these stories of what it was like in the movement. And there's this comparison that's going to be made between my life and, of course, his life. But at the same time, I'm thinking, you know what? I have my own destiny, my own path. And I think what's going on right now is I can see myself fulfilling that. My dad never told me you got to be a lawyer. He was like, no, you don't got to do what you want to do. He never said that, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can see some of those traits within me, right?
Yeah.
So how have you dealt with that also as a legacy?
Yeah.
Since we're dealing with legacy, how do we deal with that psychologically?
Yes.
Is that a burden, or is that a blessing? How is
it's ironic that you said those two terms, because it's actually a combination of both. I said it's a blessing and a burden. It's a blessing and a burden. I said in the poem before, a lot of people want to know, how does it feel to be sired by you, to be loved by the people but sweated by the who. There are certain things that that naturally you feel. Like I tell Tip, I recall as a child, I would try to hold my hands down. I was actually embarrassed when I move my hands. When I seen the images of him speaking, moving his hands, I said, "Oh, I embrace it. I took it. So I'm with that." And there are situations I looked at, said, what if you do this like the chairman, so on and so forth. But also there are certain external factors that exist. So nothing stays exactly the same. Like what happened 2 minutes ago is history.
Exactly.
We respect it. However, things are constantly evolving. And I've been through some situations, like I think back in Menard, in particular, Menard Prison, where Chairman Fred was at in 1969. When they would transfer me around different prisons, and when they got me to Pontiac, and I overheard they refer to the prisons as K5, K55, K20, and I was on the phone with my mother in Pontiac, and I was talking. They said come to visit me, and they cut the phones off, and they came and said pack up, and they finna transfer me, and I kind of felt that I had not been to Menard yet before, and then when that guard said Menard, it's like whew, it's like here we go, you know what I'm saying, and it just hit me. I said I'm going to walk through the same dynamics, you know what I'm saying? And I said, man, get the word to him. And then I remember going there, you know what I'm saying? And I remember the brothers, like, they placed me in isolation. They telling me, man, you in the same gallery, same cell house he was in. I said, what? They say this is the same unit. And they said, what gallery, what floor? And I said, wait, stop. I can't take you. I said, slow down for a minute.
Yeah, hold on.
Slow down. Let me take this here step by step.
Exactly.
And they gave me the moniker Deja Vu. That's they call me in Menard. They say Deja Vu. And I've been in some situations, been fortunate and unfortunate, where even some of his same adversaries, some of the same, I'm bearing my soul. Man, I remember when we fought to have a street named after Chairman Fred in 2004, literally feet away from Mayor Daley Jr. And I mean, like, literally, the city hall is going up. It's intense. And in fact, African Porter was there. We laughed about it because her son was on. They carrying on his shoulders. And we discussed, we talking about, we reigniting the campaign to have the street after Chairman Fred this year. And I said, damn. I said, I remember that they was youngsters then, and it was so intense in City Hall. I mean, it was going down, it was intense, and you seen people deny it. You seen like grown men saying, "Oh, we thought it was a football player." We didn't. It was like, it was mind blowing, and it was all the chaos. You can see like daily, like eye-to-eye contact, and a lot even forces from both sides, from the administration and from the people. A lot of people know how significant that street sign was. He knew, like, no, this guy is on a mission. You know what I'm saying? And I said, and it's something to go through that. And this lady, Mama D, when I was locked up, Mama D, I seen the other day, and we laugh about, we talk about Mama D to this day. She's still standing. You know what I'm saying? She's an older lady then, and she's older now, but she's still standing. It was a big debate, like, what are we gonna name this campaign? How do we get the people involved? You know what I'm saying? And they said, Mama D just said, just so nonchalantly, free Fred Hampton's son. And that was the mantra. And it was the poster was Mayor Daley Sr., Mayor Daley Jr., Chairman Fred, and me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And when I got locked up, it was a number of different agencies, and they pulled me over. I was walking my daughter, and like the same time, about 15, 18 cars just stopped doors, and they jumped out, and they tried to grab me. And I told the brother, I said, man, secure my daughter. And you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't let them get me in the car until my mother had came out. They got my daughter. They got me in the car. They flicking all these pictures of me in a car. And they was going. They took me to the station. I'm like, I'm still trying to figure what's going on. And they were saying, this is such and such from this agency. This is such and such from this agency. I mean, they naming all different alphabets. And I'm trying to see this one police. I say, who is he? This one guy was like calling the shots. And then, because he came in and he told him, he said, there's no sense of talking to him. Just, we're going to lock him up. So he debated on how they're going to charge me. Lo and behold, I'm out on bond in Oakland, California, going through old Black Panther Party newspapers. I'm going through a Panther Party newspaper. I said, whoa, that's the guy that was calling the shots when they locked me up. It was his picture, Daily, and two more people. It was a thing called Legion of Justice and the Red Squad. Joseph P. Grubezek was his name. This was the same when I was involved in surveillance on Chairman Fred. This who got me arrested.
Wow.
Joseph P. Grubezek. I said, this dude is a sergeant in the Chicago Police Department. How is he calling the shots on these different agencies? And then when I try to, you know what I'm saying? When I'm locked, I'm trying to push this. And the lawyers, they trying to be dismissive about it. You know what I'm saying? Because the climate, what people could, like even, people still can't grasp certain stuff now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I was deprived at that time. Like you said with your father, certain things you can feel, but the external factors ain't there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need those external factors to be, it's like raising a lion in a zoo. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, hold on, man. I know this ain't how I eat, and then I'm fighting for this to bring this out in my appeal about this Joseph P. Grubezek. I get close to it, and later on go through Chicago. Or sometimes his name is buried in the back of the obituary. He just passed away.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so I know I kind of went there, but I mean that it's I'm dealing with some situations now. Well, I said, wow, it's ever developed. I said, well, I've been betrayed by some of the same individuals who betrayed Chairman Fred. I mean, who, you know what I'm saying? And it's, I say, you can't, to learn. I love learning. I love learning about, man, I love about our people, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I'm saying? I learned, you know what I'm saying, like my contradictions. You know what I'm saying? I was saying, why do I do this? How I feel this way? Melissa, the daughter of Church Jimenez at the funeral service, she was speaking about her father, and she was saying some. It was loving. It was some, like she was saying like some of the setbacks of being a daughter of a revolutionary, and she was saying like sometimes she just want to talk to her father. And she say like she would talk to him, and she say within 1 minute could go past. He's talking, oh, the young lords, blah. And I'm listening. I'm feeling. I say, damn. I said that was people with me. You know what I'm saying? I say relationships and just people like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I'm going with this, And but again, but not you had external factors, but I love it, and I'm constantly learning. I've had situations where I've had standoff with some of the descendants of some of the same organizations. We had like, oh man, oh we got, oh it's
man, it's interesting. It's like,
man,
two things. We talk about Malcolm X, we talk about King, we talk about Fred Hampton Sr., we talk about my father, we talk about these people. And to people, they're historical figures. To us, it's dad. You know, when Malcolm X was shot in Audubon Ballroom, that was their dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When King was shot, that was their dad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When I saw my father after having a heart attack, you know, lying there, you know, at the Skokie Hospital, you know, lifeless.
Yeah.
That's dad.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not just professor or
Yeah.
civil rights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that becomes a whole
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Also, as you get older, you begin to realize, because you mentioned this very profound idea of, you know, those same forces that were against your father, against you.
Yeah.
It's almost like, you know, the Bible talks about, you know, it's not against human beings, but against powers and principalities
Yeah.
that we're fighting against, right?
Yes.
When you have an activist lineage, and I think about even the Kennedys, for example, it's interesting how when you ignite certain forces or you fight for justice, you ignite also these forces, dare I use the word demonic, that come against you, and then also try to attack your lineage as well.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, you know,
yes.
One of the reasons why I do what I do is I'm gotta have spiritual protection.
Yeah. Yes. Oh.
You follow me? Because your lineage, I mean, think about it. Think about what happened to Malcolm X and his grandson accidentally killed Betty Shabazz. What happened? You know, a lot of folks don't talk about, you know, after King was assassinated, one of his relatives died in a pool or something.
A.D. King, the older brother who was an avid swimmer. This he died in the swimming pool.
Yeah,
his mother, the lineage, his mother, the church, Tupac. They know it's the lineage. I mean, and you go back during the era of chattel slavery. You know what I'm saying? They was the lineage. They told me how Utah and the Mormons been keeping like documents. This is something new to us, you know, Ancestry.com.
Mm-hmm.
They know your potential for, you know, your own potential. If this person, you know, say what you can do, the trigger point, you know, man, I don't know if you, man, we had Malcolm Shabazz was rolling with us for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, in that count, insurgency was intensified on him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, brother, I'm having flashback to, and to be able, not like our community, a lot of times it's like, that's when it's another setback of being reactionary. Because a lot of times we'll just see it just from right there. You know what I'm saying? The different dynamics. Who I look in my life, who was like people sitting at me and I look, you know, knowingly, unknowingly. You know what I'm saying? And the psychological profiles, you know what I'm saying? They put on us, and you know what I'm saying? But again, that lineage, man, the potential, and a lot of times like we came across some prison files one time. And you know, they were trying to, you know, get them to the streets. I remember this. They were saying, if this guy get with this guy in this particular joint, it could present a problem. You know what I'm saying? And those dynamics of that, you know. And I talk about the Black Panther Party. I said, imagine if this person would have been out with this person, that person would have been on the streets, and that person would have been locked up. But that, again, they studied the lineage. Some people say like people are born before their time. I said, well, you know, that's the case for a lot of revolutionaries. You know what I'm saying? But they were, you take a stance, you're not only taking a stance, the spotlight comes that, you know, on you and your lineage, your people. Winnie Mandela said, that's not the prisoner who does time. They come, the impact, you know what I'm saying? That's what I tell I'll be saying, I'm willing to die. I say, yeah, but they come at your family. They come at your lineage. They come, you know what I'm saying? They think, you know, people say, well, is this family cursed with up? Are you talking about the Kennedys? I'm talking, they come, man, long range. They dig deep. They dig deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of us who are doing this work need to be spiritually protected.
Oh, I just commented yesterday. I cut you off. Sister Chairman, are you spiritual? I said, listen, I can't afford not to be. I say, let's dig. I can tell you some situations where I came out of. I know I can't scientifically explain it. Believe that. I don't not to get it twisted. No doubt, we can't afford not to be.
And so I mentioned this because it's very important for us to have ancestor reverence. So one of the foundations we have in African spirituality is, get your ancestors consecrated first and foremost, right? So even by mentioning them, when I'm here mentioning my father, Norman Amaker, I'm mentioning the things he did. That's a type of ancestor reverence.
So you're right.
I'm calling his spirit
So you're right.
into this environment,
so you're right.
which will show me the next level.
So you're right.
You follow me?
So
and it
you're
comes to a point where in your life, you're going to have to call on those ancestors, right? So, for example, of course, you were in your mother's womb at the time. You didn't physically know your father, but I'm sure you know your father.
Yeah. I'll be watching video. I'll be watching video clips. His brother named Miller Frazier. I'll be watching Money Frazier's son. His father, Miller Frazier. And he talks about, he say, Chairman, I'll be seeing you sometimes. You be speaking. He say, I can tell you getting drained. He said, man, that second wind kick in, the chairman grab you, man, and you be rolling. No doubt about it. I pull up on that ground zero. He was assassinated, him in defense of the Mont Clock, and I chop it up with him. I said sometimes, I know he laugh at me, like, oh, you want this stuff? This the heat that comes with it, Yeah. And I be on their heels. I be on the ancestors' heels. I know they be like, here we go again.
And the heat, and the heat comes down from your own people. That's what really is bothersome.
Oh man,
it's almost like the more once you get powers and principalities, the more that you come into just trying to live your destiny, do the right thing.
Yes,
the more they come at you.
Yeah,
and a lot of times it be your own people.
That's why I struggle. That's what for my sanity. Like I'm real clear about. Like, I mean, I don't hold. I mean, I tell people, I say, man, I'm real. Like I detach. I say, man. I mean, some people. I don't. I say, once you clear that you're adversary with me, you know what I'm saying. That's why I'm real. And in the struggle, we have to become. At the same time, we don't want to become them. The system is scientific. It's certain forces who certain conditions force people to be on the same battlefield, but certain conditions heighten and bring out, certain like, damn, who this person was all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it can, I was, I'm tripping because I know I'm quoting her a lot. We just had that film with Cha Cha, and she was saying something like she said, "Oh, I know I'm saying a lot of stuff about saying like way out." I said, "No, I see someone else. It may sound way out, but it sounds sane to me. I can, and that a lot of people in that lineage dynamic also. There's that commitment to have something like my standards. What who I can't betray my ancestors. You know what I'm saying. And if to be deprived of that, I tell people like in the prison system, they will move prisoners further south. And cats will get more loose, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to you closer north. They're like, ain't you such and such grandson? Ain't you plugged with such and such organization? Ain't you one of general such and such men? Whatever? And you held accountable. So the lineage, like, you know what I'm saying, that lineage, I tell people, like this the whole discussion they talking about the music industry about people loyalty. So I say, man, it's people who not physically here who I'm held accountable to. I catch myself sometimes going back and say, man, I'm self-critical, Chairman. Minister Huey,
people who are not physically here,
man,
you are accountable.
I'm accountable to.
Say that again.
Who are not physically, I am accountable to. I tell people say, Chair, man, on that move, on that set, Judas and the Black Messiah, I recall we on this, man. Initially, it was some scenes where it's like it was like kind of like the fight, like the way like the protocol, the way they had Deborah Johnson character talking to the chairman, and me and my mother comrade looked like, who was that? That's not how this go. And then one said, well, we wanted to pick a strong woman, but we said I was strong. She covered down with the chairman when they came to assassinate. This is strong. It don't. We not come from. We come from the cloth for Sheik anti-Diab. We don't. Our strength doesn't come at the compromising who you are. You know what I'm saying? That's the chairman. You know what I'm saying? I tell people that in our community that we don't see those images of that. You know what I'm saying? Their reverence and their respect, and it holds us together. I mean, other communities. We talked yesterday. So I said, "You see that interview with John Gotti Jr. How he talked about his father?" I said, "Yeah, I saw it." I said, "Man, the reverence." You know what I'm saying? And you can, and when they deprive you of that, that's one of the dynamics. You open to, you know what I'm saying? You like, kind of like what was Malcolm X said, a man who stands for nothing to fall for anything.
That's right.
That dynamic of your lineage, you know what I'm saying? Say, man, it's what I'm going to say. It was certain things that people say, well, let this go. I said, no. I'm going to tell you a scene. A lot of people couldn't understand one scene that people say, they said, man, it really hit. They said, you really own this. Initially, in the political education scene, The lady literally put up the sister Dominique Thorne, who played Palmer, Chairman Fred Security. She literally put her foot like in his butt crack, like when he's on the push-ups, like literally push his foot down in his back. I said, no go. They say, man, Chairman, this the dude, that's the inform. You know, I said it's a no go. You can't. That's not party protocol. You know what I'm saying? I said that's a no go. It can't happen. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And so you got a lot of times people look at situations subjectively. All they can see is right there. I say we struggles about how J. Edgar Hoover to be depicted. This was some this racist white dude. Because that laws. If you lower this bar, you gotta lower this bar. You know what I'm saying? You have to put stuff in objective context. You know what I'm saying? And I said, like, you look at the interview with O'Neal talking, you can still see, man. He said, "Oh man, dude didn't play." To Chairman Fred, you know what I'm saying? He said he was serious. You know what I'm saying? He was committed. Even I tell you, even adversaries to this day. You know what I'm saying?
Respect him.
There's gonna be some respect here. Gonna be some respect. You know what I'm saying?
And that made O'Neal's guilt even probably more extreme.
Yeah.
Because he knew he really set up a good.
It's a principle
who was real. About
and you can't and see how you feel. Because you make it easier. I tell people say, well, this person, you know, to justify what you're doing. But when this for history book is laid out, it can't be. I tell people, like, even my adversary, you know, saying, like, man, love me or hate me, disagree, you know, saying, no, he dead serious about this struggle. You know what I'm saying? I tell people, Chairman, I said, don't get it wrong. We all get our flaws. I said, I got Panther Club claws and we got flaws. You know what I'm saying? We all get contradictions. But this who I said, like with Tupac, I say, man, it's the stance. I say he was the mother comrade. I say he needed organization, and the organization needed him. But we got to. I say, but it was something in him to hold that. You need that basis of what what I do, what I don't do. You know what I'm saying? And far as I move, a lot of times, and this is no slight on any other institution, but a lot of times it's only given to us by, like you see right now, people. I'm gonna say this. This is really a lot. I told one sister, I say, Trump is really the first man a lot of people are saying. She said, what do you mean? I said, let's have this conversation. I said, I've seen men. I know men. You know what I'm saying? This is not this is a process. You know what I'm saying? I say, our community has been set up like you thought the men and women were like Crips and Bloods. You know what I'm saying? It was so adversarial. No man, no image of a man. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people say, well, they're against structure. Oh, it exists. And so a lot of people, when they confronted with it, their first structure they see is the state structure. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get in line. And their first symbolism of a man or a woman or institution. I say, you can't come in and talk about, that's what they open. They talk about you got Negroes and they American. You know what I'm saying? It's no concept of nothing to a people. I said, you can't go to no block party if you know your own address. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? How did Chairman Fred organize the Rainbow Coalition? He was clear who he was. Chairman Cha-Cha, he was clear who he was. And see that and you don't have to be antagonistic to know who you are saying, to be there. But we're taught to believe, no, don't worry about that. And that's attractive. No structure. No identity. That's beautiful. But in the real world, it may say it's going to come. You have to. I told his brother in prison when the young brother came, I said, look, brother, it's the wrong place to be looking for an identity because somebody will give you one. You know what I'm saying? At some point in time, it exists, even if it's dormant. And you becoming clear. It's a joke they make about me right now to this day in prison. To this day, They say Chairman Fred Jr. goes to the Muslim service, disciple meeting, Vice Lord meeting, Hebrew service, and still come out Chairman Fred Hampton Jr.
That's right. It's like you can't heal the world unless you heal yourself.
You
have to know yourself before you
got to know yourself. You know what I'm saying? I'm clear.
And what gives you that knowledge is your ancestors.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Hey,
right?
when they ran me, it's on YouTube. They ran me on ancestry.com. And they y'all know you're gonna call on this Showtime. When they told me my history, I was like, whoa! They ran my African ancestry, and I was like, yeah, I could dig that.
You came by Igbo?
Don't call me where I came from. They were shocked. They said, man, what part of Africa? I was on YouTube and pull up. They was like, look who you come. I'm gonna pull it up for you.
Like I could see Igbo.
Man, I was, and that's a pride. And see, I tell people, even when I said, like, I don't have to use this analogy all the time. You know what I'm saying? I people see, I want dogs and stuff. I would never get another cane Corso again in my life. They good dogs. I said, but like a Rottweiler protects a home, a cane corso protects the individual. They need attention. They got they got to be up on you. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have that time for that. And then I'm talking, and then they tear up stuff accidentally. And this guy would say, "Oh, in Europe, they would put these shanks on their back and run them with the horses to cut the horse." And so now you do stuff. Oh, this your lineage. This what you what you do. And you know what I'm saying? And when you find that out, you look at the conditions. And you know what I'm saying, but put it in context, like you said, like a lot of us, they grew up, you know. I tell people, like, even this stuff in Chicago, a lot of the young brothers in the rap industry. Look at the timeline. Look at the dynamics with, you know what I'm saying. Look at the FBG Duck and the Lil Durk and them. Look at just even the time when their fathers came home, got out of fathers who was targeted by the system, the Chicago Police Department in particular. And framed and tortured, all that. And you can literally look at the development of them brothers when their fathers hit the streets. I mean, like, literally. Yeah. Just the present. I mean, even clinically speaking, they talk about what they say, the pheromones, like the men release certain things. You can literally see it. You know what I'm saying? So you say, wait, okay, you say, well, this the time this person got it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a thing on National Geographic where they show these elephants. They start going through musk, like puberty. And they just drop one male elephant. And without saying, elephants got in line. I remember this war story on 65th and Halsted.
No problem.
You know to jump in, bro. You ain't no guest no more, man. You in here now. These brothers was marching. 65th and Halsted. It was a march by political prisoners. And these other brothers, they were demoralized. That's the term we use as opposed to they were dope fiends or strung out. They were demoralized. They going through some struggles. And they grabbed the banners. And we marched. And I watched them. And when they crossed a certain block, another group came in. And you seen them, they get the bill saying, "Free Jeff Ford." I said, "Free Larry Hoover." And you seen them like it was like literally like a cleansing. You seen them, you literally seen them, they back straight. They get, and so it started getting more confidence. Then it started getting like a little antagonistic. One of them got to talk a little, one of them saying their case a little louder than the other one. So one brother said, "Chairman, you gonna say be cool. It has to happen. It has to happen. See, I see this is necessary." So they should get free jump for it, and they got a little more intensified. You could feel it. And the other ones got, you know, it trigger other brothers coming in. You know what I'm saying? This is necessary. Don't stop. Be cool. And they got to a point, you know what I'm saying? They got there, and they were like, "Man, what's gonna happen?" Because it kind of got like almost antagonistic. Now wait, in a certain period, I grabbed certain brothers from certain families, from certain organizations. I said, "Come on up here." We got up there. In unison, I say, "Free them all." And he said, "Free them all." It was phenomenal. I said, "You can't stop the people need something to identify with." They snatch every example from our community. Then they come out with this person. You be like, "Why do men identify with this?" You snatched every example from a man from them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You snatch, you know what I'm saying? As you snatch it, it's certain needs that a person has. You know, people say that calcium D, or you need your body needs certain things. Sunlight. You're gonna find it somehow. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna find that you're gonna find the video representation or the movies, whatever. I tell people, I said, "Man, I had those." I said, we got them. I said, they don't even have James Evans on Good Times no more.
It's like men need manhood. Men need, and when I say manhood, they need representations of men with integrity. See, one of the things to talk about being a man, it's not just your biological. It's, do you have certain character traits that are uncompromising? Do you have integrity? Do you have discipline? Do you have purpose? Those things make a man, and those things are much more important than any physical, biological thing that we have, right? And I think when people see that, they gravitate toward that, right? We got too many brothers out here who don't have these things, right? And so these are things that all that we need, right? I call it our spiritual immune system. Our spirit identity is a spiritual immune. Culture is our spiritual immune system. Right? And you find culture immediately first through your family and through respecting that lineage, right? And then from the extended lineage from that. And realize that all lineages ultimately relate to each other, and we all work, because what's a community but a collection of families?
Yes.
So one of the reasons I want to come on the show tonight was talk about specifically, yes, my father's civil rights attorney,
Yes.
Law professor,
yes,
but also he was going to be involved with that case.
Come on, man.
Fred,
Come on,
right?
yeah.
So it shows you that we may have met
Connection.
earlier
No
at
doubt.
some point in our
So you're
life
right. So
if
you're right.
things had been
Yes.
a little different.
Yes.
You follow me?
Yeah.
So, it's 6 degrees of separation.
Yes.
Right? So families are connected.
Yes.
So all these civil rights families.
Yes.
And once again, civil rights doesn't mean you out here on the news all the time talking.
Yeah.
Dad was never on some news show talk. He was just doing the work.
Man.
And how many folks out here who are unsung heroes, right? Men and women,
Yes.
right? All the women in the civil rights movement who really made the movement, right? All these lawyers behind the scene doing law work,
Yes.
right? All these doctors doing doctor
Yes.
work. How many of them also were part of this movement and part of this community and part of this larger family
Yes.
of African Americans who basically made this country better than the way we found it?
Yes, indeed.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's something that we need to really just acknowledge as Black History Month.
And
There were a lot of unsung heroes.
I tell people, I say, the 2 points you on touch on. James Amos, who played James Evans on Good Times.
Oh, John Amos.
John Amos, who played James Evans on Good Times.
The actor was also in Roots.
His grandparents' house in Indiana, I think Gary, their house was a layover for the Garveyites, the UNIA.
Look out.
You know what I'm saying? See, I had a struggle the other day. I had a serious struggle. His brother named Ernest Krim. He's a phenomenon on social media. Mike Africa Jr. connected us up. He calls, I know this voice. He's a phenomenon on social media. And this brother, I was telling somebody, and then, lo and behold, his mother was my 5th grade teacher.
Look out.
His mother was telling this testimony the other day when she grew up as a child, and it's like in the neighborhood I grew up in, and she told about how it was to go to McDonald's. She said, but she remember riding a bike as a child. And she impacted me. I remember this. I remember her. I vividly remember her taking me out of the classroom, talking to me in the hallway, saying, "You know who you are." I remember this. I vividly remember this. I'm talking about I think I remember this lady. And man, when she telling this story about as a child, her riding a bike, and through the racist neighborhoods of Southside Chicago, and when the white people came, she said a friend had left. Her and her sister was together, and she to tell how many look on time. Okay, she describing a chain that her father had like a bike. She make a point. It wasn't a bolt chain. See, I listen to stuff when you say about the different how you mention Adam Clayton Powell and other the lawyer. These are different footnotes in our minds. That impact us. And she say the chain. Her sister was there, and the white people. You see that emotionally hit her when they come at them. You know what I'm saying? All the white people. And just her and her sister, but she remembered her father told her, you protect your sister. Yeah. And I was saying, her father impacted me. I never met him. You know what I'm saying? I said, her would, that's the whole thing about, like you said, the connection is certain things. I said, man, them brothers, they call me deja vu, and see, lots of we don't know it, but the system knows it. They can see your potential. They can see it. They man, no, we know. They look at us like, man, listen, we've been in this business for a long time. We recognize, you know what I'm saying? When they see certain, that's why they go through them. That's what that's what defiles us as children. You know what I'm saying? All that, them dossiers, they keep up, they watch it. I can look at some youngsters and say, oh, this one here, the potential with here. You know what I'm saying? They study it. And I want one other point. In our community, one of the setbacks of being colonized, there's no perfect allies, no gift rap revolution. And a lot of times, even with different examples of manhood and womanhood and humanity, sometimes our community is like you pull it. You got to grab, you got to grab different aspects. People, that whole, I look at in my life, certain things. I told you I learned how to shave by ear hustling, overhearing other brothers talk about that.
Really?
Yeah.
So no man taught you how to shave?
No, I listened to it. I heard him. You know what I'm saying? And I feel guilty when I go against the grain now. I said, I got and I watch, and it's those different dynamics. You listening, and there's no. You take a certain brother say, I can grasp this from him. I hear that, and that's how we in our communities. There's certain dynamics. You know what I'm saying? The stand up. There's one brother I talk about him to this day. He got some contradictions. I don't bite my tongue about it. But I remember we with the Hampton House. We was first getting into Hampton. He was telling me, man, oh man, you can't do that, man. It's too much money to get that house back. Just leave that alone. You tripping, man. And he didn't know I knew about this war story about him. I said, man, you say I should just leave this alone. I said, yeah. I said, man, I heard about you in that park that time. Mm-hmm. You was outnumbered. You put your back against the wall with 245s and you stood your ground. It blew him away. I said, I heard about, you know what I'm saying? I said, so you stood for what you believe in, but you telling me, man, he humbled up. And so, but that, you know what I'm saying? Those different examples, you know what I'm saying? One of Garvey's axioms was take with a ply, take with a ply, let the rest fly. You know what I'm saying? You know, the old African axiom, you know, eat the fish and eat the bones. Mm-hmm. So there are certain situations we got to grasp. And you know what I'm saying? And our communities to study this and study that. But I said, we need a basic constitution. I had that with Chairman Free. I see like a legacy to lay out. This is, you know what I'm saying? This is a basic template, you know what I'm saying? And welcome adversarial situations. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell you, I said, you, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I'm saying? I say, man, I've been impacted by, I've been through some of the same prisons. I've been through, man, I done seen some similar situations. I learned a lot, you know what I'm saying? And so we got to be, you know what I'm saying, to find out who we are. You know what I'm saying? You know, what's, you know, how you saying, church, what's your calling? And it opens the door to, you know what I'm saying, to meet some principal forces who you, like you just said, I didn't know that. I'm glad you came on. You know what I'm saying? You met before, you know, in different dynamics. You know, this ain't nothing new under the sun, man.
Also, I think what happens oftentimes is I find my life paralleling my father in some ways that I didn't even anticipate.
Man, come on, man.
So, for example, he went to Columbia. I ended up going to Columbia grad school also after I went to Morehouse.
Yeah.
Found out later on from a relative that I actually had a cousin at Morehouse who I didn't know about at the time. But then also, I find myself also being involved with, he was an actor. He got involved with acting. He did Othello at Amherst. I've done acting before. You know, I'm into history.
Yeah.
He wrote a book on history.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things that I just naturally,
yeah.
I didn't even think about. I'm trying to be my dad. No, it just came about. So these things implanted in your DNA.
Yes.
You can't just help.
Yes.
You know, because my father died relatively young. And it's interesting, probably we got closer when he had gotten sick than during life. But what's interesting is that these things still come out when I'm becoming that person.
Yes.
Right? So that deja vu thing is real.
It's real.
And it's almost as if life is this continual circle that goes around and around and repeats itself just in different ways at different times.
So you're right.
So there's a certain kind of spiritual aspect to that.
No doubt about it.
And instead of being scared of it, we got to embrace it.
Embrace it, man.
Embrace it. So I wanted to make sure that I came here today to talk about, we're going to be continuing Professor Amaker's legacy. We got the Loyola University. We got the Norman C. Amaker legal retreat. We're doing that. I'll give my information. My number is 773-844-3343. 773-844-3343. Also, my email is ADEART, the number 7@hotmail.com. ADEART, the number 7@hotmail.com. That's ways you can contact me. Amaker Consulting, which is also on Facebook. We're going to be doing more around my father's legacy, scholarship fund, memorials, buildings, these type of things. So we're going to turn it up this next couple of years. And I want to make sure people know the name of Norman C. Amaker and what he's done. And I also want to make sure that we continue to honor our heroes who are unsung.
Long live Professor Norman C. Amaker, brother. We got your back like a backpack, your chest like a bulletproof vest. This has been a charge up, a legacy protected, respected, and never neglected. They will come in, man. People, man, make sure. Hey, I'm telling you, you have no, man, brother. This is so impactful. This is, man. It don't be, man. I told some people recently, like, I don't know I said, man, if you make mistakes, as Malcolm X said, they are mistakes. They ours. They belong to us. Man, them legacies, man, walk through, man, deal with, don't embrace it. The mistakes and all, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad you came on, brother.
Well, it's almost like ideas are perfect. Human beings are flawed, but ideas are perfect. And the thing is, both of our fathers were men of ideas. And those ideas are things that really mobilize the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I want to make sure we come on here again. Because every time that we get together, it's fireworks.
It's fireworks, man.
It's
fireworks, man. You believe that?
Yeah. Give thanks,
man. We give thanks to you, brother, man. This again, y'all, another power episode. Y'all make sure y'all share this and post this, repost this, the word out, man. This has been phenomenal. This is timely. And I want you to get that contact information one more time, brother.
Once again, my name is Arthur Ide Amaker. Once again, my number is 773-844-3343. I'm on Facebook at Ide, A-D-E, Amaker, A-M-A-K-E-R. Also, Amaker Consulting on Facebook. My email is A as in Apple, D as in dog, E as in Ernie, A as in Apple, R as in Robert, T as in Tom, the number 7 at hotmail.com, ADEART7 at hotmail.com.
Stephen Lynn, we'll see you in Louisiana. It's Father's Day. Lloyd Washington, you asked that question. Okay, it's Save the Hampton House. That's where we at, Save the Hampton House. Devontae Burris, hey, all y'all, love and respect y'all. Man, y'all reposted, man. Great episode. Great episode. Another one for the history books, y'all. Oh, my cousin just tapped in, man. Hey, I'm his joke, cousin. Hey, make sure you listen to the show if you only just tapped in. Love and respect, y'all. Free them all. Oh, man. Powerful.
Posted that.
Man, show you right. Show you right.